Character introductions and hood synopsis. Not ugly enough to diss EmmaParaLeeInc Incorporated. Meet the characters. Lastacia Matisse Murphy, the one they slept on. Greer, South Carolina's most underestimated export. Lastacia came into the world yellow-complected, bushy-haired, flat-chested, and thick in all the wrong zip codes, or so everybody else decided for her. The self-proclaimed loner of her graduating class, Lastacia moved through high school like a ghost with good manners, present, polite, and perpetually overlooked. She wore an A-cup and a smile that concealed a bitterness she hadn't yet learned to use. One rigged prom night, one overheard conversation, and one devastating truth about the nature of pity disguised as friendship sent Lastacia walking out of Teamsters Hall and straight out of everyone's lives. She left no forwarding address, no goodbye, and no explanation. What she left behind was a version of herself she had no intention of ever reclaiming. What she carried forward was receipts and 10 years' worth of patience to spend them. Kimberly Denise Barnes Kavanaugh, the Shade Architect. Kim is the kind of woman who can insult you 6 different ways in one paragraph and then sign it with love. Light-skinned, shoulder-length hair, built like a young Dorothy Dandridge, and possessed of absolutely no self-awareness whatsoever. She organized Lastacia's prom humiliation with the best of intentions and the worst of judgment, then spent a decade wondering why Stacy never called back. Now married to Ricky Kavanaugh, the same prom date she's been loyal to since forever, Kim wrote Lastacia a reunion invitation, so dripping in backhanded compliments it could have been filed as a hate crime. She genuinely believes she is Stacy's safe harbor. She has no idea she is about to be a cautionary tale. Jennifer Murray Duncan. The prize nobody actually won. Jennifer was the tall one. Taffy apple skin, brownish red hair down to her middle back, and the kind of beauty that made men lose their entire minds and their basic dignity. Jen was the carrot dangled in front of John Booker, while Lastacia was used as the errand. Married now to Stavros Duncan, 4 kids, plus 2 bonus children courtesy of his side situation, Jen has somehow forgiven Keela for sleeping with and marrying the very man who was chasing Jen while escorting Stacy as a paid favor. Jen is proof that loyalty to your girls can be both admirable and deeply questionable depending on the circumstance. Keela Gregory Booker, the one who started all of this. Copper-complected, Christina Milian fine and messier than a plate of ribs with no napkins. Keela orchestrated the entire prom arrangement, paying John Booker $250 to take Lastacia out and make her feel special, all while sleeping with him on the low behind her own cousin Darian's back, dangling Jennifer as the reward. She ended up pregnant, caught, DNA tested, and married to John, the man she used to humiliate her own friend. She and Jen apparently patched things up because sisterhood, or something. Keela still lives close to Kim. She has no idea what walked out of her life the night Lastacia left that prom. John Booker. $250 worth of nerve. Fresh off a football scholarship to the University of South Carolina and operating like he was already in the NFL Hall of Fame. John accepted $250 from Keela to escort Lastacia to prom, romance her just enough to make the evening memorable, and in exchange expected access to Jennifer. He called Lastacia basic, not ugly enough to diss, not pretty enough to claim. He said it like it was a compliment. He married Keela. He lost Jen. He never knew Lastacia heard a single word. Karma charged him full price and didn't offer a receipt. Darian Grayson. The cousin who had no idea. Keela's prom date and John's cousin. Darian came to the prom clean, paid for a good time, and left with a girlfriend who was secretly sleeping with his family member. He demanded a DNA test. He was right. He gets no further description because he was simply too decent for this particular story. Terrence, deceased. The one who saw her. We don't know everything about Terrence yet, only that he loved Lastacia for 2 years, got down on one knee, and was taken from her in an unsolved homicide at Club Fairmont in Spartanburg. What he left behind was a woman who finally knew what it felt like to be chosen, and enough financial security to walk back into her past looking like exactly who she always deserved to be. Terrence may be gone, but his love built the woman who's about to show up at that reunion. Fire Hood synopsis. Fire. Not ugly enough to diss. Okay, so listen. Lastacia Murphy spent all 4 years of high school being the girl her own friends felt sorry for. Yellow skin, wild hair, a cut bra, which, bless her heart, she correctly identified as being the exact same thing as a training bra with more fabric and more audacity. While Kim, Jen, and Keela were out here collecting phone numbers at the mall like they were couponing, Stacy was standing there like a decorative plant. Cute enough to bring along. Invisible enough to ignore. So here comes prom. The girls won't let Stacy skip it because they love her, allegedly, and they hook her up with John Booker. Fine. Football scholarship. Sophomore in college. The man showed up matching Stacy thread for thread in a dark blue tux while she was draped in teal silk, looking like a whole Gloria Swanson fantasy. Stacy felt beautiful for probably the first time in her life. Then she went to the bathroom. And honey, she came back to an education. Turns out Keela paid John Booker $250 to take Stacy to the prom, make her feel special, and in exchange Keela was supposed to hook him up with Jennifer. Because apparently Stacy was a charity case and a currency at the same time. John, unbothered and unashamed, stood in the middle of that prom and called Lastacia, not ugly enough to diss, but not pretty enough to claim. Sir, you got paid to be there. And you still had opinions. Stacy didn't cry, didn't confront anybody, didn't make a scene. She walked out of that prom, called a cab, went home, left a note, and left town. Went to her grandparents' house. Picked up her diploma by proxy. Never returned a single phone call. Didn't explain a thing. Just vanished like smoke on a windy day. Fast forward 10 years. Kim, now Barnes Kavanaugh, still messy, still clueless, sends Stacy a reunion invitation so full of shade it needed SPF 100. She basically said, "Come stay with me, I can't have Jen and Keela here because they're too fine and I don't trust my own husband, but you? You're safe. You cause no worry." This woman thought that was a compliment. Meanwhile, Stacy has been out here living. Lost her fiancé Terrence to an unsolved homicide, God rest his soul, inherited everything, and used that grief money wisely. 44DD breasts that behave, porcelain veneers, and some strategic liposuction. She went from a cup to a whole thesis statement. And now? Stacy is going to that reunion. Might even stay at Kim's house. Just to be polite. Just to let everybody get a good long look at the woman they counted out. They said she was basic. Basic just became the most dangerous thing in the room. EmmaParaLeeInc, where the streets tell their own truth. Kennedy, just let me know if you want the elder chorus to weigh in on this one, because Mama Greer alone could carry 3 chapters off this prom story. Grinning face with smiling eyes. Elder chorus insight. And this bitch has to faint, scream, and cry. The elders have seen enough to know. Mama Eunice, the wise one, settles into her chair and folds her hands. Now I want everybody to pay attention, because what just happened in that house on Keela's floor is a masterclass in what happens when a woman spends her whole marriage performing instead of paying attention. Keela had all the signs, the wigs, the rag top, the $5,000 every 2 months she never questioned, and she called it the good life. Chilly, that wasn't the good life. That was a well-funded lie. And now that the liar is dead, the truth is walking through the front door uninvited, eating off the good china, and asking about the insurance policy. John didn't just die on Keela. He left a whole second family growing in somebody's belly. You cannot mourn a man and a marriage at the same time. Pick one, baby. Because both of them were already gone. Mama Greer, Evelyn Virginia, the bold one, stands up from the couch before she even finishes her sentence. Let me tell you something about that whole Booker family showing up to that house. I have never in all my years seen vultures show up before the body is even cold and call it love. Cher talking about Todd's birthday and a diamond cross from Zales. Ms. Alina asking about the wedding bands SHE loaned the money for. And Liberace. standing there in his lying suit talking about John's assets like he wrote the will himself. That family didn't come to comfort Keela. They came to collect. And the nerve of that man to say he's preaching the funeral. Baby, the only sermon Liberace needs to be giving is the one where he confesses to being a greedy, shiftless, tongue-tied opportunist. Keela put every one of them out, and I stood up in my living room and hollered amen. Auntie May, the funny one, slaps her knee so hard the sweet tea almost tips over. Okay, first of all, Pistachio said, "Turn me loose," to a man named Fabian, and I hollered so loud my neighbor called to check on me. And then you got Ricky doing a militant fist bump like he didn't just walk in wearing house shoes. But honey, let me tell you what really sent me, Ms. Alina, this man's own mama, standing up there asking if Keela's keeping the wedding band that Esichi loaned the money for. Baby, the audacity was so thick in that room you could slice it and serve it with the to-go plates. And then Kim, standing there frozen like a deer in headlights when they mentioned John had a baby on the way. Honey, Kim wasn't shocked. Kim was calculating. That woman knows more about John's baby-making schedule than Keela ever did. Don't let the frozen face fool you. Still waters don't just run deep, sometimes they run guilty. Mother Mary, the prayerful one, closes her eyes and breathes slowly before speaking. Lord, have mercy on all the souls in that house, the living and the departed. I will not speak ill of John Booker beyond saying that a man who plants seeds in secret will grow a harvest that outlives him. And now that harvest is coming, a child on the way, a 16-year-old in the shadows, and a widow left to grieve a man she never fully knew. I am praying for Keela, because that woman collapsed, not from sorrow but from the weight of revelation. Every illusion she carried fell on her at once. Father, give her strength. And I am asking the Lord to deal with Liberace in his own time and his own way, because what he did, walking into a grieving woman's home with lies dressed up as facts, that is a special kind of wickedness. The Lord sees it. And as for the child not yet born, that baby is innocent. Cover that child, Lord. Cover that child. Sister Shirley N. leans forward slowly with both hands wrapped around her coffee mug. Now I've been quiet. But I need to say this. Stacy walked through that whole house, hugged necks, told lies with a straight face, and nobody, not one soul, felt a chill. That's not just nerve, that's training. Whatever that girl went through back in high school hardens something in her that don't soften easy. And I'm not saying she's right, but I am saying I understand. When people spend years treating you like gravel, walking all over your heart, laughing behind your back, stealing the man you loved right out from under you, something either breaks or fortifies. Stacy fortified. The question isn't whether she feels guilty. The question is whether the day is coming when all that fortification starts to crack and what comes out when it does. Because honey, you can only carry a secret that heavy for so long before your knees give out just like Keela's did. And when Stacy falls, Lord, when she falls, the elders go quiet. The only sound is the ceiling fan and somebody's to-go plate getting wrapped in foil in the next room. EmmaParaLeeInc, where the streets tell their own truth.